Today's podcast features one of the great Minnesota hockey legends, Jim Boo, a 1976 University of Minnesota hockey national champion. Not to mention he played for the North Stars as well. His path to becoming a hockey star and legend is a bit uncommon. He had the talent, but he more so had the tenacity. He was what would most people call a goonie, partaking in many fights, protecting all his players. One of his coaches was the great Herb Brooks, who coached the USA Miracle team in 1980. He has a great story overall, from athletics to post-career athletics, his journey through sobriety, and then ultimately his business and family in Stillwater, Minnesota. Please welcome Jim Boo. Let's get it going. Jim
Right.
Boo,
Yes,
welcome
sir.
to the Backpocket.
Boom.
Boom, and that's when you're live.
And that's how you know you're live. Excellent.
All right, let's do it.
I guess so. I got to ask you, first question. This is a big one. Where did you get those clogs?
Oh, man, we're going with that?
Yeah, we got it.
So it was a 70s gig. We were back at the University of Minnesota, and, we're looking for, an easy way to get to class. And when the clogs came in, clogs and the flow and the whole deal, and so, now it's coming back around. So I found them online, Swedish fella, made them, said, Jim, here they are, and that's what I got going.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I do know, I mean, looking back at your old pictures, though, your playing days for the North Stars and U of M, I mean, your flow, you could have been, I'm calling you actually right now my second father.
Well, thanks for starting with that. She's thinned down a little bit. I don't know how that's all going, but we had a big game in the 70s.
Mm-hmm. You're still going with the mullet.
Well,
has the mullet ever left?
Tracy's trying to thin her back, but we're working to keep it.
Right.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I just started growing this mullet back in March of this year.
I'm noticing that.
And
That's good.
And I'm almost I'm feeling real good about this new look here. I just got it cleaned up on top. But I'd like your thoughts on it. What are your thoughts on this new wave mullet here?
Well, we got the hockey vibe going. It was a big part of my life, and so if we got that, a mullet kind of came with it. It's just let her go. We got the hockey here at the state high school tournament, and so it's just part of Minnesota. It's a foundational block of Minnesotans.
Amen to
so
that.
True.
Yeah.
So yeah, you brought up hockey as a pinnacle part of your life and your upbringing. I kind of want to start from square one. I mean, when you first started playing hockey, when you were growing up here, because you grew up around Mahtomedi, is that correct? Or where'd you grow up initially?
So my father's from Pine City, Minnesota, and he went to the University of Minnesota, actually played football there. And then after the University of Minnesota, he went into the Army, served for 4 years, and then went back to school to become a dentist. So we were over at the University of Minnesota on campus till he got his degree and everything, and then we moved out to Mahtomedi, which is on the east side of White Bear Lake.
Gotcha.
And I got kind of a late start on the whole hockey thing. I don't know, 8, 9, 10. Whenever we came out here, we discovered that everybody plays hockey in Mahtomedi, and so we found ourselves a pair of skates. And fortunate enough to live on the lake, and my father built a rink out there, and we worked at it. I went to Mahtomedi High School, graduated in '72. And then that was the second year of the Can-Am League, which is a Canadian American league, when juniors just got here. And so we didn't have anybody to play, so we were end up playing Canadian teams. You know,
Wow.
it was right in the very, very beginning when the whole junior league showed up. So
Early days of the junior league.
the early days, the
Yes.
foundational
Some of the
early
early
days,
days.
yeah.
That's cool.
Colorful
Yeah.
years. I mean, the Carlson brothers, you know, the movie Slapshot, that all came out of the 70s, and all we did was travel to Canada to attempt to play a hockey game.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. And you say attempt because they were the real deal, the bee's knees, or what?
A little bit about the physical side of things, and he who had the best fighters won the game usually.
Really?
Yeah, so we showed up with Jack Carlson, Jeff Carlson, Stevie Carlson, David Hansen, Paul Holmgren, you know, some Minnesota 70 legends, and we got around to playing after a good big fight.
That is awesome. So were you a big fighter in hockey, or was that kind of your thing?
That was my thing. I didn't have enough talent really to score much. I mean, I could every once in a while one went in, but my major role was to make sure nobody was bugging our guys.
How quickly did you pick up that, like, okay, I'm going to become one of the fighters on the team to protect the scores? Was that something that was kind of like initial part of your game, or did someone kind of like nudge you on the side and be like, hey, Jim, we're going to need you to fight this one out, type of thing?
You know, I played some football, played some hockey in high school, and, you know, my father was physical. He played on the line at the University of Minnesota, and so the physical part, that's just, if you don't have any talent, you got to do something, right, to have a
Amen,
job.
yes.
So, and then the fighting just kind of evolved. I mean, it's hockey, and it was 70s, and we were Americans, they were Canadians, and you know, the Philadelphia had the Broad Street Bullies, and they were winning, and that was the model that the 70s used. And then, you know, kind of evolved, and if you're going to fight somebody, it's more fun if you're winning. And so we just trained to win and did all the boxing and martial arts and everything that comes along with figuring out fighting.
No way. So you actually took like martial arts class to
Oh, yeah.
protect your like? No way. That's amazing.
I don't know if it's amazing, but if you're going to be in the fighting business, you should be, try to win. You know, it's way more fun. And if you're going to do that, then training for it, you know, so we trained, or I trained. David Hansen and I both have belts in karate, and we fought in tournaments, and he's the guy that they did the movie on, Slapshot.
Right.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Did you take the martial arts classes in college, or was that when you went into the professionals?
That was in juniors.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was juniors, played some high school. Juniors is you retain your amateur status, and it's the gap between high school and college. And so when we did that, and everybody's fighting everybody, I decided that, along with Hans and some other guys, that we might as well if we're going to fight for a living, we might as well get good at it. And the whole martial arts deal is, it's real deep in fighting.
Right. So you being in the early days of juniors, and you're in high school, and these people in Canada are like, hey, come up and play in our league.
Sure.
Were you initially like, no brainer, because this is just, I get to go play hockey and I'm still a kid, and then you still have college on your radar, but you got this gap year. Was it like a easy selling point to just go up to Canada in a kind of an unproven juniors type environment, or did it take some like convincing to go up to Canada to play in the juniors?
Well, the first year, Herbie Brooks, our Minnesota legend, he took a junior team and went into Canada with a lot of skilled players. And, the Canadians took advantage of the, skill side of the game and decided to go rough. And so the second year, when I got there, we showed up with the Carlson brothers and David Hansen, and we decided to take the physical approach. And it didn't take a lot of convincing, because our coach, I played for Dougie Woog for the St. Paul Vulcans, and he's a physical guy. He was a coach at the U.
Okay.
And then my first year of juniors was for a guy named Red Carries, Jerry Melanchuk, and Harry Brown. And they for sure were more physical than skill. So it was just, we're going to fight these guys. Boo, you take this guy. Carlson, you take that guy. And we might as well get started. So it was, we knew... Well, the only teams we really had to play were Canadian teams, because we were the only junior team in Minnesota, so we were going into Canada to play Canadian teams. And there's a lot of there's this undercurrent in the early years of, college guys and Americans not being any good at the game of hockey. And you can argue about, skill is subjective, but a fight usually has a winner and a loser. So we went with the fighting theme.
This is awesome.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite martial art that you learned?
I did Kwan Lu boxing. I'm a better hand fighter than a leg guy. I'm not real stretched out, but I'd much rather fight with my hands. I'd rather not fight on the ground. I'd rather stand back and fight. But it was, it's effective. I bounced for a living, and every time I turned around, there seemed to be a fight. So it's helpful to know how to do it.
So, how do you pick a fight when you're out on the rink? Is it pretty easy?
Sure. It's really easy. Yeah, I mean, a lot of times the coach will tell you, but you usually know going in.
Okay.
And if you're going to fight somebody, you should do your homework. I mean, you're going to fight a lefty, you ought to know that you're fighting a southpaw before you take 6 and figure out that I ought to switch hands.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you study your guys, and especially as we went on, you couldn't fight so much in college. We had, we got a couple done in college, but when you get to the pros, you're fighting the other team's goon. Every team has a goon, and the goon's job, a crummy word, but that was our job, was to protect the other players.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It was really cool watching hockey just start up again.
Sure.
The Wild were playing the Canucks, and first 15 seconds of the very first game after this short break that the NHL was on, the first 15 seconds, this guy on the Wild skated in, and there was a face-off pretty quick into the game, and he just looked off into space, but he was talking to the guy left him, and you could see in his lips saying, "You want to fight?" And the guy just nods his head, and lo and behold, right when the puck drops for the face-off, these two guys just dropped mitts and squared up and started fighting. It was just as quick as that. It was, would you like to fight? He nodded his head, and they just went at it.
Yeah, I mean, you can always ask somebody, and and it's kind of like the hired gun in the West. I mean, you're going to fight, if you really want to fight somebody, pick a good one, and see where you are, and then, pick the next good one. And then most of the guys that do that for a career are going to say yes. And then, there's you drop your gloves, you get the sticks away so you're not stepping on anything. And then, if you won, you won. I mean, there's kind of an unwritten code to it, that if we're going to fight, let's just do it right. And when it's over, it's over.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you keep an active record of your wins and losses on the rink, on the fight?
No, I remember, I mean, I was winning more than I was losing.
There you go.
One night I stayed up a little too late in Fort Worth, Texas, and their goon beat me up. And I'm on camera too. Sorry, Tracy. But but we just went at it again the next night to make sure we had that straightened out, and that's what you did. If you lost to somebody, you just did it again.
I like that. Did you what is there a specific fight that you recall and always go back to that you really liked?
I have 2 of them,
Okay.
and they're kind of benchmark starters. So our junior thing, when we went up into Canada, we played the Thunder Bay Vulcans, and there were 2 guys. One was Willie Trognuts, who was supposedly their toughest guy, and then Bill Goldthorpe, who played for the Saints with the big fro. And we knew right before the game who's fighting who. Jack, you got Billy. Boo, you got Trognuts, and never dropped the puck. And I ended up, I think I beat him 3 times. And
3 different fights in it.
In one, yeah.
Wow.
We got done, and all right, let's do that again. And then here come the mounted police and everybody else, and they drove us to the border and kicked us out. I don't even know if we finished the game. So that was kind of the entry level point 1, and then and then I went over to the U. I was fortunate enough to play at the U.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are asking about the fight, so I'm going to just give you one more, and we can go on.
For sure.
Yeah.
So Herbie saw all that, Herbie, Herb Brooks, and so I was fortunate enough to make the team at the U after a couple years of juniors, and we played Michigan, and they had an All-American linebacker, Don Dufek, and who played on the football team, and then the football team won large against our football team, but everybody came to the hockey game because we're going to win the hockey game, and Herbie's the coach, and we're out there, and we had a guy on our team, Tommy Vanelli, just a lifelong friend of mine. Well, Herbie was really clear. I had 3 seconds to get to the puck to Vanelli. You know, he said, "Boo, pretend it's a hand grenade, and you got 3 to 5 seconds to get it to Vanelli, or it goes boom, and your butt sits on the bench." But when we're playing Michigan with the All-American linebacker, Herbie says, "If he touches Vanelli, you're going." And I said, "Yeah, cool. I mean, you're the coach." And I said, "Got it," you know. But I'd spent about 2 years getting ready to make the team. So he's, you know, so sure enough, the guy takes a run at Vanelli, and Herbie says, "Go get him." So I did.
Wow.
Made the highlight film. The only thing I got it going for me, made the 75-year highlight film.
Yeah.
But
that fight was
when
in
the
there.
coach
Yeah.
says go, you go.
That's incredible. So playing for Herb Brooks,
Yeah.
what was did you know the significance going into it, like as him as your coach, or is it his kind of aura build up as you left the U of M? Did, like, when you were playing for him, could you feel that this guy's going to be the face of Minnesota hockey for?
No, I think when you're there, if you watch the movie Miracle, that's exactly who he was.
Okay.
And he got more out of all of us than we knew he had. You know, starting with me. You know, I didn't know if I had enough talent to get there, but he got more out of me than I thought I had. And then he was the best at, you know, identifying diversity. You know, what lane are you supposed to be in? He knew who I was supposed to be. Somebody had to go. I mean, it turned the game. Somebody's got to do that stuff, and somebody's got to score, and somebody's got to be a team player. And so didn't really realize all that when you're going through it, but as you look back, heck, they were foundational blocks for my life, really.
Yes.
You know, you play 4 years for Did you see the part where it goes again, you know? I mean,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
well, one last little short Herbie comment. So we played in Colorado, we got beat, and I snuck out with my father, and I'm sitting at a bar in Colorado, and Denver, Colorado, and somebody bought me a beer, and, you know, beer came, and I said, "Great, well, who bought it?" "Well, it happened to be Herbie." And he said, "Boo, enjoy that beer, because I'm going to get it back out of you tomorrow at the rink." And sure enough, we landed at back in Minnesota. We went right to Williams Arena, and he skated us again and again and again until he got that beer back.
Holy
Wow.
smokes.
True story. I was there.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Is it so? Outside of, you know, and you mentioned there's been foundational pillars that Herbie's been has provided you that are lifelong.
Sure.
What are some of those type of pillars or things that you've taken away that you apply to even today?
Well, you know, you can find there are life's lessons in team sports, right? You know, you're working together, you're celebrating together, you're losing together. What do you do when you lose? You know, what do you do if it doesn't go well? What do you do if you get set down? What do you do if somebody says no or it's not going right? So Herbie was instrumental, along with my father, in persevering through that. You know, hard work, teammate. And, you know, my whole life's been playing on teams. Now we're in real estate, we're a team. And, you know, and so he set some foundational blocks for me. Had a good start with my father, who was, you know, a football player and, you know,
Military.
my hero, military guy, you know, man of few words, but he went to work. And we all went to work. That's how it goes. And So my father, there was a high school coach named Warren Strelo, you know, who was another living legend, and then there was Herbie. And so after a long time of that, you come out of that, that's what I knew, you know, and so you'd apply it to, you know, the next phase of your life, and, you know, you got a pretty good chance at winning more than you lose.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
And you're talking to the two guys that played football at St. Thomas.
Correct.
And under Coach Glenn Caruso.
Perfect.
So we understand, like, the aspect of he built a foundation for us, and we had a podcast with him season 2 about halfway through the second year of doing this.
Yeah.
And we were in the podcast, I think Declan and I looked at each other and we're like, you are the back pocket. Like, our podcast
Cool.
is Coach Glenn Caruso, because the only reason we kept going and still are doing this today is because of the work ethic he instilled in us, and the belief in, like, hey, every failure you can find success. And any little, like, overcoming type adversity, we just think of ourselves on the football field as scout players and, you know, never giving up on each other. So we understand the aspect of having a coach in team sports and how it all comes together and continues to build off of.
No, you just said it. So I mean, what a life skill, and you can read about it or you can go do it, and to have that experience of actually doing it is invaluable.
Yes.
Yeah, could not agree more. So, in terms of being a goon, how the lifespan of a career, I mean, how taxing was that? How did you kind of maintain your health as you were kind of going through your hockey career?
I was fortunate to come out with good health, and I have $23,000 with the new teeth.
Those are some good pearls.
You have pearly white teeth.
Well, when your dad's a dentist, your sister's a dentist. I didn't get to be a dentist, but it helps.
Yes.
And I'm a recovering alcoholic, and so I didn't go back for my last year with the North Stars. I bought a bar. Some might think that they're buying a bar as in the hockey manual, play hockey, buy bar. For me it was play
Vanelli's,
hockey.
right? Vanelli's is a bar. Isn't that the same guy?
They're connected to the Vanelli family. I don't know if they're the exact ones, but I know we had an awful lot of Vanellis there in the stands in the 70s.
Okay.
But Tommy Reed and just Louis Nanny. It goes it goes on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't quite in that caliber, but I was playing for the Stars and decided we should buy a bar. Just kind of in the manual there, and did, and then told Louis I think I'm having more fun at the bar than I am coming back to play for you, so I just shut her down in my third year with the Stars.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
It wasn't a
crazy.
good while. The story has a happy ending, so I'm a recovery guy, and I'm honored to say that. My wife was kind enough to forgive me. I had some major drug and alcohol problems, and there's only really three answers in that movie, and that's one, you're dead, two, you sober up, or three, you go to jail. And I'm not glorifying it, but I'm saying on record that I was fortunate enough to get a second chance at my life, and went to Hanley Hazleton. A couple of friends of mine, Stan Hubbard and Davey Brooks, were kind enough to take me down there when I needed some help, and
Were those ex-teammates?
Well, Davey Brooks was Herbie's brother,
Okay.
and he knew recovery. And Stan Hubbard's a wonderful friend of mine, and just a good enough friend to say, Jimmy, when it's time, I'll take you down there. So he took me down to Hanley Hazleton in Florida. It was 1988, and
Hazleton, that's in Minnesota as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
that's a sister one in West Palm Beach. I thought, if
Okay.
I'm going to go, I don't. And, and Hubbard's giving me a ride.
Right.
Why don't we go to the one in Florida?
That's awesome.
It just seemed like a little more fun.
Right.
Yeah, so they're teammates. They're friends. They're teammates, and I got a second chance, and so I got a second chance at my life, really.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing that, man. And congrats on the success since that. Honestly, your recovery is a success story, like you said.
Yeah.
I'd like to know, when was that time that you realized it was time? How did you know?
Alcoholics and addicts are hard to look in the mirror sometimes and know that it's time. I think there's a still quiet voice that tells you. My father was in recovery, and really for me, I did 6 or 7 interventions with him, loved him to death. Tough ground. The collateral damage for a family with a recovery person is, it's really tough, because, where's my dad? And so in that, I got some seeds planted that it's the disease, not the person. Learned a little bit about separating. Another guy that played a lot of pro hockey, Mark Heaslip is his name. And these are all friends of mine that I have their confidence, and he's in recovery, and he just said, Jim, maybe give this a try. They didn't push it on me. They just showed me something that was better. And then I was in a pretty dark spot. I was in the drug world. I was in the, it was not good. And so I think I knew that it was time. And then watching my father go through the challenges of alcoholism, I just held my hand up one day and said, I'm going to try a different way.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Did you still own the bar when you entered into recovery?
No, I sold the bar. Even as an alcoholic, I knew the bar was just not good.
Not a good fit.
So
Sure.
I did that for a couple years. My last game at the University of Minnesota, the next night I was playing in Chicago. So I'm 16 credits short from my, from a college degree, because I left the next day. So after I sold the bar, then I went back to University of Minnesota, tried to get finish my education. It was just kind of a next step of doing something, still not sober. And then my dad said, gee whiz, you work, you're good with people, why don't you try real estate? And so I did that. That was way back in the early 90s. And then after doing that, I was still not sober, and I just kind of decided with some help from friends that it was, time to take a look at life as a sober person.
Interesting. And I think that's just, again, the awareness and like the power and your own being aware, I think, is the key part of all of that, right? Like you can go through life unaware a lot of the times, yeah, and be clouded by the shiny things. And for you to be able to kind of just have that presence and take the grasp of your own life, like you said, it almost, in one instance, it saved your life. It gave you a chance, it gave you a second chance. And heading into real estate now, looking back, or now sitting on your yacht, right? I'm not gonna
the
call
silver
it
lining.
The silver lining. There's just I'm just so curious to hear about this hero's journey to this point. I mean, that you've come. It just seems like you've come so far based on this one self-aware decision. It's impressive.
Well, we can give that I have a lot of gratitude for the second chance.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts with my wife, who was, she'll probably see this, but she said she actually forgave me, which I didn't even know what that meant. But to have somebody forgive you that you've hurt is a big deal. And then it was a beginning too. I'm faith-based. I believe that there's a God, and his name isn't Jim for sure. And so in that, I had some things happen in my life that kind of reinforced that. And at an early age, not really knowing anything, I was getting kicked out of treatment because I wasn't really paying attention. So I actually said, hey, I could use one more day here, God. And I got a knock on the door, and they gave me another day. So I was sober enough to equate that to maybe that is real. And so the point in that for me has been that it's been one day at a time, and it's been a lot of the stuff that I've done in my life. I haven't done a lot of, made a lot of mistakes, but there's been some victories. So if you can learn from those victories and go ahead. I just, brought them forward into my life, and starting with my wife Tracy, and then I have 4 great kids, and got a chance to see what sober life looks like, and then pay something back too. I do interventions. I'm certified to do interventions. I've been in all the intervention chairs, on me, on others, and that. And it's an honor to do it, to help someone, hopefully make that decision. They have to do the road work. We all got to do our own road work. But people coming alongside of you, like they did for me, Hubbard bringing me down there, Davy Brooks making sure I got right, and then standing with me at the end, because you can't go back to the way you lived life ahead of treatment. I can't go back to the the bar and all the friends, and you find that, or I found that that my real friends celebrated that. That they were the ones that were there, when I needed a friend. So it's been good. It's been good for me, because I am very grateful that I'm here. It hasn't all been perfect, but it's I can see the victories.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'd like to ask, how was it redefining yourself? So once you made this decision to pursue a sober life, and you gave up the game of hockey as well, like for Declan and I, we defined ourselves through football.
Yeah.
For all of growing up. And then you graduate, and we're trying to redefine ourselves in this new world.
Sure.
And so you're doing twofold, right? You're now sober, and you don't have the crutch of hockey, the sport that you loved and grew up on. What was that like, redefining yourself?
Well, I've learned that there's seasons of change, right? And I don't fight them anymore. Okay, what is this? Must be a new season of change. So the girl forgave me, said yes to getting married. chose to work with me in real estate, and we were passionate about it. It was an opportunity to do something, and I didn't really know who I was, but I knew that I wanted to do something, to give something back. That was for sure. I knew that if I can play 4 years for Herbie Brooks, I can take a few no's, and I can get up and try again, and figure out where I fit. Foundationally, my father brought us up, just hard work gets it done, and that. And if you apply that in, life, it usually, you'll win more than you lose. But yeah, there was a little bit of, who am I now? Who am I supposed to be now?
Yes.
And I think that's new almost every day. Not that I'm in an identity crisis, but, I've done almost 40 years of real estate, been through a lot of good real estate, been through the challenging real estate. Heck, we had two significant businesses that went through the real estate, downturn in 2008. And I had to lean back on who the heck was I? We're going to get through this, and we're not going to roll over and file on everybody, and we're just going to work our way through it. And
this is after 25 years of doing it, 30 years of doing it.
Yeah.
Hitting 2000. Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys know, not everything goes great, and so, but you work, but you do know what hard work does, and so I had a good foundation of that. I had a good upbringing and an example in my father and mother, and so that has been there to lean back on when it's not working. And it's taken some time. We're doing some new things now, but I think we're comfortable with where we are. We're grateful. We have fortunate enough to live, to ride around on a boat and enjoy some time with our family. And heck, I got a Medicare card now. So I got kids getting married in the backyard, but we're still got a little tread on the tire and then having some fun.
Yes.
Nice. That's awesome. So you did reference this silver lining boat that we're on as a boat.
Yes, sir.
So we are always fascinated with that terminology. Is it a boat? Is it a yacht? Is it a ship? So you're going on record saying this is a boat?
Well, I'm grateful for the boat that we're sitting on now, and I think we all get to choose. To try to go with a little humility and gratitude. And for us, Tracy had a cabin that was a family cabin, and it came to be a season of change for that. We moved off of White Bear Lake to Stillwater, and we brought our boat with us. And in a period of just under 2 weeks, we went from selling the cabin to selling the lake boat to the silver lining showed up. I'm not taking any credit for it, but if it showed up, and we're doing our best to have a little fun with it and have our friends out, and so it's a cool boat. It's a 1986 Carver aft cabin, if you want terminology, and I learned how to drive it, and that's where we go.
How long have you had the silver lining?
8 years.
8 years. Wonderful.
So cool.
And here's one thing. So when it showed up, and I finally got around to what's it called? And the guy brought me around. He said silver lining, and I thought, dang, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
We'll take it.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
It kind of just played right into the whole story of what you guys are going through and everything at the time. It's a silver lining on everything that you guys are going through.
Yeah, it does. And thanks for giving that a little credit, because that's what we believe.
Yes.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So speaking more to your business side of things, what's it like working with your partner in crime, Tracy? How is that?
Tracy's a better player, and so she takes the face off. She's very detail orientated. Some would say I outpunted the coverage, but we've been a wonderful. It's been colorful. Not everything that I think up is brilliant. I've got off course a couple of times. We built a modular housing plant that didn't work and kind of ahead of its time, but she was there as a teammate to take us through. We have 4 beautiful children, and it's been good. It's been really good.
That's awesome. Is there a certain challenge to working with a family member?
I think if you asked our kids, that you'd find out yes. And yeah, we have totally different personalities, but we respect them. We celebrate them. I like to negotiate. I like to, do things. We're in the land development business. I like to think out of the box and creative, and Tracy's very detail orientated. and you know, everything from big houses to little houses to what should be here, what shouldn't be here. So it's a good team.
What's it been like giving back to Minnesota, Eastern Minneapolis, growing up here, and now like with the real estate business, like helping provide and grow the city?
You know, it's been really good. So we've tried to give them back on a couple of fronts. We had a tournament in Stillwater. Stillwater's right over there. We're in the St. Croix River here, where we did the Sticks and Stillwater tournament to bring commerce back to Stillwater in the time when they didn't have any. That's the winter. So we did that and gave the proceeds to the Herb Brooks Foundation. For us, one of our last events or current events is the Royal Club, which was Tartan Park out in Lake Elmo, that was developed into 300 housing units.
Wow.
So we do that. We're in Chisago right now. We just bought the Chisago Elementary School site and building homes on that, and finished. We got a loud boat going by. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
So it's been good. You know, I mean, I enjoy change, you know, so
Right.
there is change. Like the elementary school is no longer in Chisago, so what should be there, who should be there, and thinking that through and then doing it. And that's what we do.
That's interesting. What's like the how? So we, not to brag, but we've also had another real estate mogul in the local area, Chris Lindahl,
Sure.
and his model is very much on marketing, getting your face out there, put yourself on a billboard, and basically saying this is Chris Lindahl's real estate business, and trying to personalize it that way to his business. What is your kind of approach for marketing and putting yourself out there? I would just curious to hear on your guys' strategy behind it.
Sure. So Chris is 2 boats away. I don't know him very well. I do think he's done it's hard to believe what he's done as far as marketing and branding and name recognition. I don't know him real well. I certainly like to be generous. He wears it down here, and he looks like he's giving something back. And for us and our group, I teach the land developing class at Kaplan. I did understand that if you're developing land, that you're creating work. So I kind of went into that business. And we've had the Team Boo name back before it was maybe as, everybody's a team now. And we were back there as a team 30 years ago, where we would work together as agents, Tracy and I and a number of agents. And so, I think at the end of the day, you have to figure out who you are. And I think Chris has done a great job at that. He's everywhere. And who we are, we're land development folks that do real estate. We have a brokerage company, and we've now gone into the recycling business kind of as a segue into another, chapter in my life. And
Recycling?
Yes, sir.
What's that all about?
What's that all about? I wish I had a little video of it. I don't know if we got any on board. So a friend of mine, I spent 4 years out in Lake Elmo as a sales director of sales, I guess, for the 300 lots that we had to sell there. And then when that kind of came to a close, as I'm getting older, I didn't want to work every last weekend, and that's what real estate can be. So a friend of mine that owns a recycling company, National Recycling, said, Jim, how about being a sales guy? And I said, well, why don't you, tell me what that looks like? And he said, well, you're good at sales, and I need a salesperson. And so he has a recycling company. We recycle metals, and I said, yeah, I don't know, why wouldn't I? So I do that, along with the real estate, and it's been fun.
That's awesome. Yeah. Hey, we had a recycling waste person, and what exactly is Ike's title?
They do sustainable recovery.
Sure.
So he basically takes in a bunch of junk from all kinds of different businesses and people, and he has got a place out in Milwaukee that he uses different processes to basically recover 85% of the things that he gets.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like this new wave type of recycling. So
and my younger brother's a waste management major in Stevens Point, Wisconsin.
yeah.
And so that there's an evolution going through that, and it's been fun tapping in different people in different parts of the recycling industry.
We're just getting into it.
We're
That's
just
why.
scratching the surface. We get wide.
Well, we went from hockey to recycling and stopped at the U, but here we are.
And we take, and also throughout that journey, you had 4 kids. We got McQuaid here today.
Oh yeah.
How has it been? You have 3 daughters, and then you got McQuaid here.
McQuaid, Boo Creative.
Yes. What's it been like being the father of 3 daughters? I got a feeling I'm gonna have daughters. I have 2 brothers, and they both said you're gonna have only daughters.
Yeah.
Just because our family doesn't have any girls. Yeah.
So he's prepared. He's trying to prepare.
I'm
here.
trying to mentally prepare. Looking for some advice.
We can do a little coaching on that. You know,
Okay.
I mean, when you have daughters, they're special. They're your little girls, and so when sooner or later a boy will come by. And when one comes by, you make sure that you're looking closely at, how are they treating your daughters.
Mm-hmm.
And we have our youngest daughter, Isabel, got married in her backyard with Kova and everything, and it was sweet. It was a puddle, and a wonderful man that loves her showed up, and it was good. It was really good. And our other daughter's in a relationship with a guy who I think you had on your show, Michael
Jordan.
Michael Jordan. Get a shout out to Michael. Great guy. And so it's good. Back to your question. It's you're protective, for sure.
Right.
And it's your little girl.
What's like your evaluation tool in your process? For understanding whether a guy's good or not just full of crap.
Well, I've been the guy that is full of crap, so it's easy to see one, and then I also, I told you what I did for a living, I also, but foundationally, they need to be a gentleman to my daughter, and we need to respect them, and then Tracy's got a really good set of eyes too, and all we're asking for is you have our trust until you goof it up, and if it doesn't go well, we're coming to make sure that we protect our family, and I'm not, no sports challenge, just that's what time it is at our house. Yeah. And then how about McQuaid? Should we talk about him real quick? We gave the girls a little
special
action.
guy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's also engaged.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been the best. It's
Yes.
been really, really fun to watch McQuaid, Boo Creative, and kind of find his stride, and a little bit like his dad's story. He probably maybe outpunted the coverage a little bit with the relationship, So here we are. We both talk about it, how fortunate we are to have, strong, great women in our life. So that we're looking forward to that. And then McQuaid's been, he's been the best, so I'm, in our business, we need, good, video, social media, and he does all that for us and our different, adventures, and he's really good at it.
What's it been like having a son in the creative industry? Because I am in social media, I am a marketer, and I'm a podcaster, so I have to explain to my dad the same type of thing, like what I'm doing, how I provide value. This is something that you've never really had to deal with, point and shoot camera, drone work, all that stuff. What's it been like saying, hey, McQuaid, what are you doing? Because my dad has to ask me that at least once a month. Like, what exactly are you doing? What's that been like?
Well, it's been really rewarding. It's been rich because, from where we started to where we are now, he's making meals out of things that I didn't know we had. We're in this recycling business, and he, he has an eye for that. It's his gifting, and he can take complicated, make it simple, and deliver a message in our real estate land developing. He's telling a story. Here we are with, nothing on the land, and here are the houses, and here are the people moving into the houses. And then with our day-to-day real estate, celebrating, like, he did a post on our social media Team Boo page where he and his fiance bought a house, and it was the best post we've ever had. Mm-hmm. But it was just, celebrating, and he does really well at it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's good.
No, and I think one thing that you highlighted there is like the idea of being able to capture a story, be able to like really tell that story to a greater audience, to then obviously have that next person buy a house with their fiance just like they saw McQuaid. What I love about what McQuaid does, like, the guy's creative, and I love that you guys have this father-son relationship first and foremost, but the trust to say, hey, McQuaid, take your equipment and let's go capture this. And I think that's just phenomenal, and it's very clear to me that that's happening.
No, it's working. And, if you get a chance to spend some time with your son and your family together, and you're actually working but enjoying it together, and each one's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
And then he does a really nice job. Earlier you asked, who are we? And he understands that, and he defines that. We are, we're some people that have been here for a long time. We like to earn the job. We like to earn your trust. We like to earn the relationship. We understand hard work. We understand being available, and he knows that. And then he'll put a personality to the different marketing pieces that, really conveys who we are, which is important.
Absolutely.
Amen.
So I gotta ask, we're talking about all the ups, and we're also talking about the downs. But as a staple of what we love to talk about is the average quality. Now, we gotta ask it straight up here. Jim, what is your average quality?
What is my average quality?
Something that you do well at times, to other times not so well. At the end of the day, you're average. It's something that at the end of the day, it's something that you care about deeply, but you're always trying to get better at it every day.
I would have to say IT, iPhones, this. What's my password? Somebody do that. Help me. Luckily I've got some younger kids, 22 to 28. Can you help your dad figure out how I get this into that?
Right. Do you have any questions right now? What are some technological struggles that we can help you with at this moment? Anything that's bugging you?
Well, my password. If I just knew my password, because I had one that I liked, and then all of a sudden everybody said you can't just have one, you need more than one, and it's got to be 7 digits, and there's got to be this, and there's got to be that, and then there's an app for that. Yeah. I'm passworded out. How about I'm just Jim?
Right.
But that didn't work.
I'd
like to just be Jim. But phone doesn't work on just Jim anymore. So
right.
I think passwords bug me.
Passwords, okay.
But I'm working through it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just hire someone that just has the sheet of passwords for you at all times.
Well, there's an app for that, but if you want to hear just average Jim, where's the password app, and then what's your password to get in the password app, and all of a sudden I'm all tangled up.
Right. And you're in a pile of cords
I'm
that we've
I'm
laid
in the
out.
pile of cords, man. Where am I? I'm all tangled up in the password pile, because I can't find the app, and here I am. So that's average Jim.
Oh, that's
What
good.
about
That's
this?
frustrated Jim too.
Yeah.
Average Jim
yeah.
turns into frustrated Jim quick. That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Well, I've gotten better, one day at a time, and don't throw, your phone, don't break your phone, because then all of a sudden you need your phone, So we're just trying to calm down, and this too shall pass.
All right,
This too shall pass.
And I think you can fight on the rink, but you just can't fight passwords.
No, dude, you're gonna lose. iPhone, Apple, iTunes, just the whole thing is too big a pile.
It's a pile of mess.
So have you ever hit forgot password?
No, but there we are. Now I got a work assignment, forgot password. I do that, and then it sends it over. You got to go to another screen and find it. And I was doing it this morning. I just sent you a new password. I said, "Oh, thank you. Where is it?" And then so then I got to try to remember it to get back to plug it in. But then guess what? The screen I was on changed back to wherever it came from.
You have a time limit to get the new password.
Boom,
in there.
and I'm tapped out.
Yeah.
Done.
Done. Screw it. Well,
Wow.
in these situations, when pressure does become stress, and the password is a small example, there's definitely plenty more of them. When pressure becomes stress and anxiety's rising, what do you carry in your back pocket to help you overcome these situations? Whether it's an attribute, a habit, what do you carry in your back pocket?
Well, here's what I can say after doing a lot of different things. If I haven't been beat up by a password, and I haven't, and I've been told no, and I've been through a lot of challenges in life, functioning out of gratitude, so I don't know, and I'm in emotional, stressy situations. I've had people yelling and screaming and this and that and the other thing, and at the end of the day, I think I've gotten better at just, it is what it is, and not trying to get, become something that I'm not and frustrated about it. So I think I've had a long time of a long run of successes, also challenges, but from that you gain a little bit of maturity. If it just doesn't work, maybe it's not supposed to work, and maybe that something else is better that will work. So I think I'm getting better at, becoming less frustrated with some of the things that don't go the way I think they're supposed to go.
Let it play out. Give it patience, because there will become something else out of it that will work. Or if you give it time, you can find the thing to make it work.
Yeah. So here's one that Herbie told me. So we were playing Wisconsin all the time. And I couldn't catch any of those guys. I had Mark Johnson and who else was it? Mike Eves, Mark Johnson, Norwich, Suiters, Dad, on and on and on. And Herbie came over. He says, "Hey, Boo, you're never going to catch those guys." He said, "But if you let them come to you, if you stand by the net, I can guarantee you they'll come to you." So I've gotten better at letting the game come to me, rather than chase every last thing down. I think that's a little life maturity. Is if it's supposed to happen, it will. I do believe that there's a plan here, and if it's not happening now, well, maybe don't push on it, because I've done a lot of that. Just see. Let it mature into when it's supposed to come. And back to Herbie, sure enough, they came by the net, and there I was.
Right.
It all worked out.
I like that. Let the game come to you.
Let the game come to you.
Be patient. And one thing that you've said multiple times throughout this whole podcast is gratitude.
Yes, sir.
Empowering gratitude, and I can see that in you 100%. I'm a big fan of gratitude. That's been my 2020 thing, actually. It's just trying to continue to go back to gratitude.
Well, I think, and we'll break deep for a second here, but, you don't have to look very far to find some sad stories. And I have a lot of friends that are in the restaurant industry. It's a sad story. And this COVID is a sad story. And, we have some people with health, so grateful for what we have. I mean, look at here we are. We get to hang around and do this today. I don't take our freedom for granted. My father served, uncle served. I have high respect for our country and its freedom. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful I got a second chance in my life. And so, to your point, and humility is refreshing too. I've been around a lot of people, and I find the ones that I really respect are the people that are, humble and grateful. So just try to learn from that and hopefully show some of it through.
Amen. Yeah, we coin ourselves as two wildly average guys.
Yeah.
With extraordinary passion to have conversations with people such as yourself, who also so happen they're ordinary in their own sense, but they're doing something extraordinary, or they surrounded themselves with people who are extraordinary and can help uplift them. And at the end of the day, we're all standing on the shoulders of those before us.
Amen.
So it's I'm happy that people like McQuaid have entered into my life to allow me to meet people like Jim Boo and Marcus, who's sitting across from me, who comes today and help us on a Monday.
Just hanging out.
It's just it's a lot
cool.
of fun.
Yeah, it's teammates. It's team stuff.
And we've built this podcast through the guests, through having these conversations, because each guest kind of says, "Hey, I think you should have this person on," and then we go out and we seek them. So I'd like to ask you, Jim, is there someone in the greater Twin Cities area that you think would be an awesome fit for the Backpocket podcast?
Yeah, so I got coached up that the question would be coming, and I think one thing that I would like to share. So I'm a Gopher alumni, and we have a new coach, Bobby over there, and I think sharing. We put have some friends that put a lot of resources and energy into polishing up Mariucci. We have the weight room done. We have the locker room done. And I think if we did a little podcast from the Gopher locker room with the coach, that would be cool.
Yes.
And I mean, there is so much Minnesota fabric. You walk down that hall and you see all these. Well, you're wearing the jersey there. Do we pan in on that? You have two Hobie Baker winners. Neil and Brian Bonin right on the front.
Yep.
You got old Jim at the end of the bench there, down in the lower right.
Number 20.
But at least I got on the shirt. Anyway, so if we did that, I think I could set that up, and I think it'd be fun, and I think it'd be rich, and I think it's, Gopher hockey is like Alabama football, whoever the guys are that play a game named basketball, but Gopher hockey's Minnesota. Mm-hmm. And so if we pressed in and, went into the locker room and got Bobby there, and I have another good friend, Paul Osby, and just shared a little bit of the inside of Gopher hockey, I think that'd be cool.
Oh, that would be amazing. Challenge accepted 100%.
Yeah.
Now, I got to get back from Tucson first. I got to fly back in, make sure we get that all set up, but I'm totally in for doing something like that. Because we have this term called, or we consider the greater Twin Cities area the sandbox. And Andrew and I are looking to dominate the sandbox, but at the same time, we're also looking to play in the sandbox with everyone around. Because I'm from Denver. Andrew's from Chicago. We came out here to play football and get an education at University of St. Thomas, and have really stayed out here since starting the podcast back in college. So, for us to be able to go from our college house, from junior years, to then like growing this thing now to where we're interviewing the great Jim Boo, but now have the potential to interview someone in the state of hockey at the University of Minnesota, like that's a dream come true when it's all it is. Like we were talking off air before this, all it is a conversation. Like all we're trying to do is get to know someone, and it always blows my mind how like the aspect of teamwork really comes into play. Like,
sure.
If you do this for me, or if you do something nice for me, I'm gonna look to do the next nice thing for you.
Yeah, no, and that's what I said. So it is Gopher hockey. It's really important. I'm fortunate enough to play there, and we are in the state of hockey, and the University of Minnesota Gophers are a big part of it. So to share a little of that, I think would be good.
Absolutely.
Yes. Amen.
So I also got to ask, so you're looking at a couple or 4 other 20-somethings in the room here. McQuaid, you're 25? 24. I'm 24. Andrew's 24. Marcus, you're 20. Okay. Some advice.
Yes, sir.
What type of advice would you give to a 20-something-year-old right now?
Good question. I think not fighting the seasons of life, but embracing them. I think you have to know who you are. That's what Herbie said. Play your spot, play your spot, play your spot. Well, what is my spot? Sometimes there's some help. Watching McQuaid, find a spot. Watching you guys find your spot. You've transitioned your athletics into this, and it looks good on you. So when you do find, and not always fighting change. I used to fight change, and now it's either a deal or a distraction. And I try to get quicker at figuring that out. And a deal would be something that I'm supposed to do. It's my time in life to do it. Like this recycling, I didn't know anything about recycling. But when a guy said, "Hey, what about this?" and it felt like it's time, and I'm enjoying it. It's different. I have purpose, I have significance, and I fit in to a team. Understanding if is it a distraction? As you within real estate, am I really supposed to be doing here? Are you really supposed to be doing that? And trying to understand that a little bit sooner rather than later. Because if I look at what I could have done better, it's trying to figure out or make that decision. It doesn't mean there won't be any hard work, but am I in the right spot or the wrong spot? Mm-hmm. And then trying to line up like watching McQuaid. We'll go back to him. He's passionate about it. So when you come home at after at midnight, 2 nights in a row of working on a Friday and Saturday, and get up at 7 o'clock to go do something, you're passionate about it. Mm-hmm. So finding that passion, and purpose and significance important.
Yes.
And if not, maybe look for it.
Yes.
Because, we enjoy real estate. Everybody, half my friends are retired. I don't even know what I would do. I enjoy this. I don't want to do it all weekend. I want to hang around with my wife and kids and do what we're doing. But I do, absent of purpose and significance, that's really, the life gets, why am I here?
Right. Find your why, pursue the why,
Yeah.
and then know your role and do your role to the best of your ability.
Yeah.
We absolutely, we eat that up, and we build, and I don't know, I'm fired up right now, and I got to ask you, through this whole podcast, we've kind of hammered you with, how long have we been going, an hour 20? An hour.
Right on.
We've now asked you an hour's worth of questions.
Sure.
I would like to hear from you if you have any questions for Deck and I, and give the ball to you.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So where are you guys going with this? You seem like, and I'll give you a little more. This has great fabric and energy to it. Just from, I was excited to do this.
You're fired up.
And I brought the props. We
Yes.
brought the props. I got my son here, Marcus, so it's all good. So, and it looks good on you guys. I watched the podcast with Michael Jordan, and I just thought, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
You know, and it's not a question with a goal in it. I just wondered. I mean, you seem like you could do a lot with this vehicle,
Right.
and you know, when you told me you're on that boat and you're giving something back, and we got a little shout out to you guys, because when you use the local businesses, and our local businesses here are important to us. You know, we try to contribute to them, but you supported the local businesses. You brought your people on a ride. You brought energy to Stillwater. I didn't quite know we were the boat next door waving at you, you know, but when you had your party there, that was cool. Well, that was you. Take the victory. You know, you got a bunch of people that rallied on a beautiful Saturday in St. Croix. You supported the local businesses here, which we're all grateful for. We do too. And that's being a complete player.
Yes.
You know, and to bring it back to a sporting analogy, you know, a complete player is a teammate. He back checks not only, you know, he does his work. You know, you got to do your work to play, and you guys look good in it.
Thank
you know,
you.
yeah, no, it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate that, and it means a lot coming from you as a guy who's been that player. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
The
And to answer the question,
yeah,
where are we
do
heading?
we just gotta say it?
Yeah, no,
we
I mean,
just
I'm
gotta
waiting.
say it.
Yeah.
We're going to Mars. We're going to Mars.
It's good.
We're going to
taking it
Mars.
to Mars.
No, it literally questionable. We do want to be on that first shuttle to Mars, but in the more figurative sense, like I want to wear Backpocket. I want this to look good on me for my career. Like
Yeah.
right now I'm an engineer, I'm working and I love it. But I also love that it enables me to do this. And if I could take Backpocket full time at some point in my life and call that my full time job and take this podcast into a brand to a ultimate maybe media company, that's the dream.
Yeah.
That's the dream. But I think where are we going right now? Like Andrew and I were talking today, and it's like patience.
Yeah.
Patience. You know, we're 24. We'll figure this out. Eventually, we will get to that point. But let's just enjoy the process and embrace the change as we move forward through it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's really wise words, because so you're 24, I sobered up at 33 and didn't have a clue. And so, you know, you have youth on your side. You also understand purpose and significance, because you got that whole boat full of people supported this. I saw the energy when everybody pulled up, and you know, and you got to have a little horsepower, you know, to do anything.
Right.
And then when we're doing this, I mean, it's working, you know, and so you're playing your spot. I'm not Herbie, but you certainly look like you're playing your spot and in a good spot. And then you got to have a little patience, because if it's supposed to go someplace, it's gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you're building. You know, so we've done 35 to 40 years of real estate business, and we built some foundational blocks that are there that we lean on, that it's relationship driven. You know, Michael led it to me, Colin McQuaid, to say, you know, let's do that. And here we are now, and, you know, we'll get to that Gopher locker room, you know, and see where we go from there. PJ Fleck, I'd like to see in his office, too. I don't really
Yes.
know him, but he's got an A game for sure.
He has an A
That
game.
would be a trip, too. Oh, my gosh. PJ would be sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as we're talking through this, like I realize how like the aspect of community plays a massive role into what Declan and I do, whether we're building the community or we're playing inside the community,
Sure.
like the city of Stillwater, and then we build our own community while we're doing it. So, for instance, the Bochella event that you just mentioned,
Sure.
we
That he witnessed.
that he witnessed.
I
you
saw it
dro-
go by.
Yeah, as we drove past, we had 250 people on a boat, and we just organized a plan and executed on it. But we had so many other people that helped, whether they were our interns, whether they were people that do ticket sales for the Twins or the Timberwolves, and they reached out to us to help us with sponsorship acquisition, and then all the small businesses that come into play that made the event happen. And then we like brought smiles and energy to a ton of people. It was just an aspect of community that Declan and I saw a vision for and helped and incorporated a ton of other people to win in that environment. And if we can figure out a way to scale that in many different situations, such as just a one-on-one conversation,
Sure.
I'm talking through this and I just keep getting excited. And
There's just different aspects
different
of community
of
that we
community.
enjoy. I mean,
Yeah.
you can have a 250-person boat party that you call Bochella, or you can have 5 guys on a yacht talking, having the best time of their lives. You know, like you can find community in a lot of different places, and it's more about being aware of it and taking advantage of them, because I think that's something that this COVID stuff taught me, was like when you're working from home, isolated by yourself, and you're not allowed to go out, you're not allowed to, potentially not even go to football games or any of that stuff anymore. You start to realize how much you appreciated community, how much of that, once that was taken away, you realized how important that void was. And as things start to reopen here, you started to get into those smaller communities and start to like really grasp those types of that power. So like Andrew said, man, we get fired up over community, and we get fired up not only building one of our own, but being a part of others and bringing along everybody else along for the ride.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so, just to close, so absent of vision, the people perish. And in Herb Brooks, for starters, we always knew where we were going. There wasn't a doubt in anybody's mind we're going to win the national championship. There was no plan B.
1974, right?
Yeah, this one's 76.
76.
And he won, I think 3 or 4. But back to you guys, which was the question, is that you have a vision. You have a vision. It's contagious. Somebody's got to say, let's do this, let's go here, let's go there.
Mm-hmm.
You got a boat together. You supported all of our local businesses. Shout out to you from Stillwater for that. But someone's got to think that up, and then someone's got to do the work to get it done. And then but it is contagious.
Right.
Why wouldn't we? And you did.
Mm-hmm.
And one leads to two.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to be on that boat next year. I'm not just going to be the guy driving by hoping,
Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Get
beautiful.
Jim Boo on the boat. Absolutely. Get Jim Boo to Boachella.
Yes.
Yeah. That's our
Hashtag
plan.
Team
We're
Boo.
on record.
Love it. Okay, so final question, unless anybody else had any other questions.
All good.
All
Yep.
good. Cool. What did you learn today from the time you woke up to the time we're recording right now on this Monday?
What did I learn today? I learned I'm gonna go to gratitude. So here's our day. I got up, I went to work, I saw my friend Paul Osby, did some real estate, did some recycling, and but I knew that I was going to see you guys, going to see Quater, and heck, the sun came out. Here we are on the St. Croix River.
Mm-hmm.
So what did I learn today? I'm not going to take today for granted. We got a chance to enjoy it, spend some time together, learn a little bit about each other, bring up some old stories, think about making some new stories, and not going to take it for granted. It's just, it's important to take it one day at a time, which is a foundational principle for me as a recovery guy.
I love that. I think that one day at a time is a contagious mindset that a lot of people need to have. And I for sure subscribe to that 100%.
Yeah.
Amen. This has been an honor. Thank you, Jim, for giving us your time. Thank you for allowing us to sit on the silver lining.
The old silver lining, man.
We brought the studio out of home. We took all of our cords.
Yeah, we'll clean up the cords.
We'll clean up the cords, we promise.
We got a Cortilla going here. I don't know.
It's wonderful.
Oh,
but that ends our time here on the Backpocket Podcast.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
That's a wrap.